Why is there a random roll of birthday-themed wrapping paper behind me? Who knows? We're just gonna go with it. Also, yes, cat in a box. For today's video, I wanted to help you live beautifully inside and out by talking about body acne, because I feel like body acne is a huge issue for a lot of people, but we're always concerned about our face because that's always like, you know, our first line into the real world, and nobody really talks about body acne. And if I went into treatments and details, this would be like a 2-hour long video, but the basis to treating any condition, whether it's acne, whether it's rosacea, whether it's, you know, even a mental disorder, is kind of understanding where it comes from or trying to pinpoint the cause. Because once you have the cause of that, you can start to work backwards. And as someone who used to be covered up to 90% of my face, chest, and back with acne, I can totally attest to this. And as somebody who still currently has big old pimples on my butt, this is obviously something I'm still going through. And you know, I had friends in school who had KP, which is like bumps here, and then there is acne that shows up on the legs or the bikini line or areas that you shave that could be actually something completely different, which isn't acne at all. So today I want to chill in a bun with my cat in a box and just talk to you about those different causes, because our entire body deserves to be loved. It takes care of us. It's time to take care of it. Hello, Pa. Where are you going?
Oh, just trying to pay some bills.
Pay some bills. That is code word for take a nap. So let's first start talking about back acne. Back acne is so frustrating. I deal with it personally, and this can be different for each person. The chest, the face, and the back are usually what's most closely related to the skin on your face. So if you have hormonal problems, if you have a bad routine when it comes to skincare, or if you have an overzealous or like, you know, balls to the walls routine that's stripping your skin, that could be the cause of back and chest acne. Now the difference is that back and chest acne, the skin is a little bit thicker than the skin that's on your face. It's a little bit more like the skin that's kind of underneath your jaw. So therefore, your back can take a bit more of an aggressive treatment without showing negative effects. For instance, I used to use benzoyl peroxide on my face, which was actually really bad for me in the long run that I didn't understand. But I found that if I used it on my back, I would need to use a higher percentage of benzoyl peroxide because the skin on your back is naturally thicker. And when it comes down to it, the skin on your face is skin, the skin on your chest is skin, the skin on your back is skin. And if you've got breakouts there, then you should treat them. The other thing to consider is that your chest and your back are also covered in clothing, whereas most of the times faces aren't really covered with clothing. And what are our pieces of clothing made of? They have different fabrics, some that can scratch and irritate us. Fabrics also hold on to a lot of sweat, so if you exercise a lot or if you have a very humid environment, that clothing can actually trap the sweat between your skin and the clothing, causing an environment that is really cool to like breed bacteria and like some other stinky stuff, you know? And on top of that, something that has been monumental in curing my own acne is realizing what toxins are in our environment. And for me, I didn't realize that I was allergic to the generic brand of laundry soap. And it wasn't until I accidentally switched to an organic and like natural brand that I realized, hey, my skin doesn't itch as much. I'm not getting weird red rashes around my clothing line when I sweat or when it's humid outside. And my acne is actually doing a lot better. And we're gonna talk about that in the video that I do on how I cleared my skin, which is coming, but there's so much that's gone into that because it's literally been a process of 15 years. So stay tuned, hit the bell button, shameless self-promotion. But when it does come to your chest and to your back, please keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the chest, there's also something unique here. A lot of times we put cosmetics on our chest just like we do our face, and although we're great at removing the makeup off our face, sometimes we don't always remove the makeup off of our chest as thoroughly. So what does that mean? Essentially, that means that there could be pigment left on here that's clogging up pores. Also, personally, I like to wear necklaces. I think they're cute. This one's awesome. It's made from recycled sea glass from South America. It's awesome. It's beautiful. I love it, and there's no way I'm gonna stop wearing it. But unfortunately, if we do wear some necklaces, they can cause breakouts because a necklace is kind of a point of irritation for some people. especially if it's a super heavy necklace or if it's a metal that you're allergic to or sensitive to. You might not even be allergic to it. If you've got like a charm that's heavy or something that's constantly pressing against your chest, that's where oil can build up underneath. That's where sweat can build up underneath. And you know, your skin, all over your body produces sebum, oil, and if that's kind of being trapped and rubbed around underneath a pendant or something, that could cause breakouts. Again, especially if you're sensitive, literally, if you are sensitive or allergic to anything, there is a high likelihood that that is contributing to your acne, because acne has a basis of inflammation, and if you're just adding things to your diet like dairy, to your clothing like detergent, or to your body like a metal that you don't get along well with, you're just adding layers of inflammation on top of each other, which just creates this entire, basically this entire platform just to have a lot of inflammation, to have a lot of irritation, and to be overly hypersensitive about a ton of different things. And until you calm your body down, the acne probably will have a hard time getting better. Next, let's talk about underarm bumps. A lot of people get bumps under here and blame them on acne. Now, if you do, again, have a sensitivity to a detergent or to a piece of clothing that's very itchy, that could cause acne. If you do sweat oddly in certain areas, that could be acne. But 99% of the time, people think that they have acne on this area of their arms, and it's actually a condition called KP, which is basically keratin. It's what your nails and your hair is made up of. Your skin has it too. And basically little, let's call them like little collections or little volcanoes of keratin kind of pop up in this certain area, and it becomes very bumpy, very rigid. You can't really pop them, and they're pretty hard to get rid of. And a lot of people deal with that thinking that it's acne. It isn't. I've done a video on it in the past. I probably need to do an updated one. But that is usually a condition called KP, and it can be treated with over-the-counter stuff. It can be treated dietarily in some cases, and it can also be treated by a doctor. But yeah, might not be acne. Another thing that might not be acne is the breakouts that are happening on your legs, on your bikini line, or your armpits. Now, especially if this happens in multiple places, you can start to think that there might be a correlation. And specifically when it comes to those areas, we have to remember that these are areas that we shave. Shaving, again, can cause irritation, but also what does shaving do? Shaving takes the little hairs on our body and just whoosh, chops them off. So what does that mean? That means that they might be right underneath the skin. So of course what happens is hairs start to grow back. But what happens if one of those hairs was just shaved so well that it gets stuck? So this is how, you know, we have hairs, whoosh, we take a razor and they shaved off. All of a sudden, they're growing back again, but what happens if one of them doesn't make it through the skin? It starts to curl up underneath the skin, and it creates basically this ball of a hair follicle, and you have a hair that's winding around itself that should be coming through the skin that's actually just kind of making a little home for itself. And obviously, if you have a hair growing inside of your body, inside of your skin, has no way out, that's gonna get red and inflamed, and a lot of the times it produces pus just like acne. So a lot of people see these and think that they're breaking out all over their legs during the summer or their bikini line, and they're like, why do I have acne on my crotch? And while it is technically possible that somebody could have like cystic acne on those areas, 99% of the time it is razor-borne, or a condition called ingrown hairs, and it's basically these hairs that wind up on each other. People who wax also commonly get this, because when you wax, you rip that hair out from the very, very bottom, from the papilla, which is like the starting point of the hair, whereas shaving just cuts it off. So if you want a video on that, let me know and I'll make it. And if you don't want a video on that, then tell me, because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I want to have a good time here. The very last thing we're going to talk about is butt acne. And I say this for last because it's something that I am still perplexed by, and I'm a little butthurt by it, no pun intended. My butt's full of pimples. This has kind of always been a problem, and I thought that it was kind of associated with my lower back area, because I realized that my lower back would react to the foods I eat, but also how much I sweat, and if I wipe it off, it'll go away. So I thought like, oh, if I wipe the sweat off my butt, which really doesn't happen that often, maybe it'll go away. Well, guess what? It didn't. Life sucks. And I'm honestly pretty perplexed by it. I looked up a couple different things online. and realized that it could be a condition called folliculitis. And apparently the yoga pants trend has been contributing to butt acne across the world. So all these girls with great looking butts maybe have butt acne too. But it's this idea that the fabrics that we're using can actually, again, trap the moisture, trap the sweat, and cause this condition called folliculitis. But folliculitis is similar to acne. It is technically different from a medical standpoint. But at the same time, I'm wondering for myself, like, is this really folliculitis or is this acne? And then for myself, there's also a correlation between arthritis and butt acne and body acne. And the reason why is because arthritis is an autoimmune disease that has a huge correlation with inflammation. And again, acne has a huge correlation with inflammation. And a lot of medical research that I've done, a lot of the doctors that I've spoken to don't always put those two things together. But from my personal experience and from my research, I believe that there is a huge correlation. And so I'm wondering, is my butt acne from this genetic disorder that I might have of being genetically cool, or is it the fact that I have folliculitis and I'm sweating a lot, or am I just breaking out really, really weird places? Because I really don't think I sweat on my butt that often, but the amount of butt acne that I've got would tell you otherwise. So butt acne to be updated and continued. But those are basically the different types of body acne and some of the general causes for them. If you've dealt with any of these, if you've dealt, English, Cassandra, English, if you've dealt with any of these conditions, please post a comment and let's talk about it, because I'm here to help you live beautifully inside and out, but I believe that the basis for beauty is knowledge, connection, and communication. It's not just something that you have, it's something that you earn, it's something you build and you develop. And that's why I'm here with you. We've been here for like, what, 7 years now? Building this idea of beauty, changing our standards, growing in the process, and it's awesome. But the biggest part of that has been me being able to communicate with other like-minded people who just want to make the world a more beautiful place. So post a comment, talk completely freely about your experience, no judgment, no hate, and no discrimination here. And you and I can start talking about our butt pimples and then hopefully curing them. I do post new videos every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Actually, screw that. I post videos literally whenever the Wi-Fi decides to work. So the bell button is really helpful so that you'll know when it's uploaded. But I hope you had a great time chilling here with a box of wrapping paper and my cat in a box, and talking about my awkward butt pimples with my awkward bun. Anyways, I love you guys more than I love cinnamon buns, and I will see you all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.